Artificial intelligence is going to start taking over schools, classrooms, my friends. Again, if you haven't watched my video about Grok predicting the future of artificial intelligence over the course of the next 10 years and the next 25 years, I'd highly recommend going back and watching that. It's fascinating to see things begin to unfold and the predictions that I've had for the last couple of years. We're starting to see them come to fruition, you guys. And one of the things that I've been thinking about is what is the use of teachers anymore? What is the use of teachers? Can you, first and foremost, let's talk about the downfall of the classic traditional education teacher over the course of the last 20 years. The teachers that I had in school were put together. They had families, they were husbands, they were wives, they had children, that were going to our school. We had classes with their school, and because or we had yeah, I had classes with their kids, and because of the let's say because of the ideological influence on the education system over the course of the last 25 years, and because the cost or the pay has not kept up with cost of living over the last 25 years. It's forced a lot of really good people out of the teaching industry, out of the education industry. So now we're starting to see it, a lot more interesting, ideologically left slanted teachers that have entered into the classroom and are forcing dangerous ideologies on children. And I mean, it's just this isn't even really up for debate. I mean, you look at school districts and different schools and what's being taught in the curriculum, and national testing average scoring has come down, and kids in the United States are leaving high school less prepared, and the grade was the grade averages, right? It's has dropped in a lot of schools now. What used to be considered an F is now a passing grade. Like, this is wild stuff. And so I think what we're starting to see and starting to test, the theories being tested, and I'm going to show you guys a video here in just a second from Dylan Page. I was just like, oh yeah, this totally confirms it. It's genius. It's brilliant. What this confirms is that the teaching industry is about to completely be flipped on its head, because artificial intelligence not only is going to be able to teach better curriculum and teach kids better, but it's also going to curate content and style of teaching, educational experience to each child in a completely custom approach that a teacher can't do. Now, we have been homeschooling our kids for the last, let's see, since my oldest daughter just graduated last year, left. So it's been 7 years or so. We've been homeschooling our kids for the last 7 years. And what we have found is that because my wife can customize their learning experience, each of my children can get as much, they can get a full day's worth of traditional school education done in just a couple hours a day. Now, we have them read and we have them do other things, and we have them do workbooks and stuff like that. And so it's not like they're just sitting around watching TV all day long. But my point is that when you can curate a custom learning experience to each child, they don't need as much schooling. And in fact, a lot of the times, traditional schooling for a lot of children is actually holding them back from being able to excel, because the teachers are teaching to the slowest child in the classroom, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's that kid who's getting the custom approach, not every other person. And when I say slow, I'm not necessarily meaning, I'm not meaning that they're like mentally slow. I'm just meaning that the teaching style of the teacher is harder for this person to catch on to, more so than anybody else. And so the teachers are forced to slow themselves down. I want to read this article here. Boom. Let's see here. Screen share right here. Okay. So this is on futurism. Now that this is fascinating. Teachers using AI to grade their students' work sends a clear message. They don't matter. and will soon be obsolete. Okay, this is just came out a couple days ago, May 10th. Talk to a teacher lately, and you'll probably get an earful about AI's effects on student attention spans, reading comprehension, and cheating. Well, again, like this is just indicative of the education system needing to change and teachers being less effective. As AI becomes ubiquitous in everyday life, thanks to tech companies forcing it down our throats, or it's just the way that things are moving, it's probably no shocker that students are using software like ChatGPT at a nearly unprecedented scale. One study by Digital Education Council found that nearly 86% of university students use some type of AI in their work. Of course, because it's like 30 years ago. The people who resisted the cell phones are the ones who held on to yellow pages for so long and never were able to recover their businesses or had and who still have a struggle now because they're like, I'm not doing social media. If you reject the way that the culture is moving, you end up left behind. And so, of course, university students, knowing that 10, 15, 20 years from now, artificial intelligence is going to be integrated into everything, and it's probably in most of their jobs that colleges you're paying a boatload of money to go to school to learn something that's most likely going to be obsolete in the next 10 to 15 years. So colleges who are ripping on artificial intelligence aren't realizing that their stuff's going to be completely obsolete. Their education system's going to be the education system is going to be completely obsolete in the next 15 to 20 years. And that's something that's really important. Hey, by the way, you guys, if you're brand new here, welcome to the channel. This is a channel where I just raw dog my thoughts. I talk about artificial intelligence, business building, opportunity, side hustles, all of the above. And I don't edit anything. I have plenty of other YouTube channels where I over edit. I edit normally. And this is a place where I'm just like, nope, I'm going to talk and we're going to have conversation. And so I want this to be a two-way street. If you have questions for me, if you have thoughts about any of this stuff, leave it down in the comments below. I try to respond to every single one. But welcome to the channel. I also own a business, a YouTube consultancy agency, done for you agency. And so make sure you hit the subscribe button to follow along on that journey. We also have an artificial intelligence conference coming up in October. So if you're at all interested in opportunity and how you can use artificial intelligence to grow your business, grow your social media, make sure you click the link down in the description below and register for the conference. It's going to be amazing. Okay, so let's talk about, this is where things get interesting, right? This is causing it's causing some fed up teachers to fight fire with fire, using AI chatbots to score their students' work. As one teacher mused on Reddit, "You are welcome to use AI. Just let me know. If you do, the AI will also grade you. You don't write it, I don't read it." Okay, this is indicative of like, again, like, how do I say this? I used to see teachers as like way up here intellectually, like intelligence wise. And again, like coming out of school and doing my own thing, having my own business, building my own business. I obviously, like, your perspective changes as you get older. But I mean, my teachers were my heroes growing up. A number of them. Some of them were awful. I got a story. I got into a yelling match with one once. Been kicked out of class a dozen times or so. As you guys know, ADHD people who speak their mind, they get into it with folks. So there I was. But I used to think, of my favorite teachers, they were my heroes. They're the people who are like, man, you're so smart. I love it. I can't wait to grow up and be like you sometimes. And I feel like we're kind of missing that. I feel like now there's almost this like, I don't want to say entitlement, but it's almost like this, there's like an attitude with a lot of like current teachers that's like, we know what's best for your children. And that's wrong. I think that is completely 100% wrong. Teachers aren't there to raise my children. Teachers are there to help educate my children and give them a good base of knowledge that they can then build upon, so that way they're not like just complete idiots when they go out into the real world and they don't understand basics of mathematics or science. I don't want a teacher teaching my kids social policy or like staunch ideological like entrenchment. I don't want that type of stuff. So when I see stuff like this, I'm just like, man, this guy is a real idiot. Sorry to say that. Okay, others are embracing AI with a smile, using it to tailor math problems to each student. See, there we go. Tailor math problems to each student. In one example listed by Vice, some go so far as to require students to use AI. One professor in Ithaca, New York, shares both ChatGPT's comments on student essays as well as her own, and asks her students to run their essays through AI on their own. Okay, so there are a lot of teachers who are like, hey, you use it and you're going to get an AI teacher. Doy, I think that's kind of what we want. That's what I would rather have an AI teacher than a human teacher for my kids in a lot of cases. But I also appreciate the ones that are using it and they're embracing it and they're rolling with the punches. They're integrating it. Okay, now let's watch this Dylan Page video. I think you guys will like this.
There is a school in Texas that only has 2 hours of class per day, is taught by AI, and has no teachers. And the results are kind of scary. Students at Alpha School are testing in the top 1 to 2%.
Okay, like this right here, even though this is a small subset, there's not a lot of kids that are going to the school, but the kids who are testing in a way higher percentile for the SATs, that is enough to make people stop, think, and realize that artificial intelligence education is going to be the wave of the future. Because it's remember, you guys, this is the worst that it will ever be. Right now, this is the worst artificial intelligence will ever be again today. Let's keep going.
Nationally. In fact, it's been so effective that they're now expanding across America to Florida, Arizona, California, and New York. The students are learning academics through AI tutors, which give them a one-on-one personalized curriculum. And after their short morning academic block, the rest of the school day is spent learning real-world skills like public speaking, entrepreneurship, and financial literacy.
Okay, so now this is where you're going to need a facilitator, at least for the time being, until there are robots that can facilitate all this stuff. But this right here, like real world experience, like obviously doing science experiments, they need to be overseen by people who have experience, who can follow safety protocol, things like that. Public speaking, like there are fine nuances of public speaking and vocal variations and pregnant pauses and all these like techniques that artificial intelligence just isn't going to understand for the next 10, 15 years. As the technology gets better, it will slowly start to replace that. But as of right now, though, that's where teachers are going to need, that's where we're going to need help with teaching. And so teachers who are adapting to this and realizing that there's opportunity here, that's who's going to be successful. Those are the people who are still going to have jobs. Okay, let's keep going.
Also built a school in Brownsville, which is one of the poorest school districts in the country, and the students there demonstrated 2.1 times faster learning compared to national norms. So the question is, should more schools...
Okay, so they went, hold on, let's rewind that, listen to that again.
Financial literacy. They also built a school in Brownsville, which is one of the poorest school districts in the country, and the students there demonstrated 2.1 times faster learning compared to national norms. So the question is, should more schools around the country adopt this approach, or is this something that could never work for larger schools?
It's a good question. That's a good question. Okay, they took it into Brownsville, one of the poorest school districts in the country, and the kids excelled 2 times faster than the national average. You guys, I'm telling you, hang on tight. Hang on tight. We're in for a wild ride, and this again isn't fear mongering. It's not supposed to. It's not intended to make you be nervous. It's not intended to get you all worked up. This is intended for you to see that there are opportunities all around us. And if you take advantage of those opportunities, you could be leading the pack. And again, you just have to keep your eyes open. You have to not be nervous, not be scared. Start taking some risks. We're coming to the point where artificial intelligence is going to start controlling most things. So get ready, buckle up, lots of opportunity. Make sure you click the link in the description. Come to AI Marketing World. We're going to go over a ton of that opportunity as we're moving and shaking. Otherwise, catch you on the next one. Bye.